Welcome to Downloadable Brain on this lovely Friday morning. I'm your host, Brain44, where each and every day we love the sound of our own voice just a little bit less, but we are not criminals. We don't wear leisure suits. We rock a limited supply of clothing, and we just don't care. Short hair, don't care. Let's get involved. So, today I'm going to discuss being responsible for other people's emotions. Isn't it something how people feel the need to make their problems our problems? Here's the deal. I'm not responsible for anyone's emotional baggage, what they are feeling regarding me, what they are feeling regarding themselves, and how they choose to react to what it is that I do. I am not their therapist, so I am not qualified to walk anybody through a psychotic episode or emotional break. One, I am not a criminal, and two, I am not a therapist, so I'm not qualified to walk somebody through their emotional issues, and I'm also not a criminal, so I cannot tell criminals what to do. All I know is that I abide by the law and I don't hurt anybody. Those who choose to break the law and bother people really have some issues to work on with their own personal therapist or even legal team, because if they choose to meddle in dirty offers, they may face legal troubles. As for me, I'm a musician, a podcaster, try to be a spiritual dude on my best days, but when you catch me at my worst, the worst thing I can become is pissed off. Me being pissed off often results from attempting to take advantage of me. However, it just doesn't work. Their flawed perceptions of reality try so hard to convince themselves, hey, this is my fault, for them either being psychotic, being criminals, or just plain downright delusional. I did a previous podcast about what it means to become delusional in a competitive nature, mainly just discussing how it relates to the music business. But sometimes people just feel like when you make your presence known in general, that they are competing with you. The delusion is to have to become better than somebody who isn't even doing the same thing you're doing. They're nothing like you at all. They don't associate with your friends or your social circle, but you're delusional straight up. I know I have a limited amount of patience regarding who I choose to watch or listen to. It's why I hate television so much now. But I'm not responsible for other people's emotions or reactions regarding me. If they don't like me and they still choose to watch or listen, it's not my fault. Something I recently heard from an influencer is that it's not your fault you are better than them, because you have done the work and they haven't. So they're just angry at you for doing work. Well, that's a pretty lame ass excuse to feel the need to bother somebody. You do know there's a thing called harassment, right? Because if you go get a regular 9 to 5, these companies who you work for will educate you on what harassment means and what is allowed to go on inside of the workplace and what is not allowed. So they establish rules and boundaries. We could say the same thing regarding anything we do outside of a corporate setting. The same thing should be said about social media and content creation. The same thing should probably also be said about the music industry or just entertainment in general. I'm not responsible for how I make people feel, but if they go as far as to bother me and harass me, damn. You better be glad you did it to somebody who's been already stolen from on a regular basis in order to stay poor, because if you start doing it to rich people, your ass is going to get sued straight up. You can't just get away with doing that kind of thing. Who do you think you are harassing people anyways? Establish boundaries, because delusional does call every day. Delusional calls you on the phone, delusional sends you text messages, delusional pops up on your YouTube comments section. Delusional makes social media videos and memes. Delusional is everywhere. But to think I'm responsible for another person's emotional trigger points is straight up delusional. It's loony. You know that character from the Addams Family? I believe his name is Lurch. He's kind of a quiet, reserved type around his family. He seems to be sort of possessive and controlling. I have some people like that inside of my family. But am I responsible for Lurch, who just doesn't like me or is jealous of me? Do I take on the karma of Lurch for the shady things Lurch does with his time? The answer is no, I do not. And people inside of my family sometimes feel like by pointing the finger at me, it shifts away focus from the very fact that they're probably actually up to no good. You can apply that to anybody, not just people in my family. And when people are up to no good, sometimes others will observe their strange and disturbing behaviors. You can talk about other people in order to shift away from the subject, but you're still lurched to me, damn it. Make that comparison to anybody and everybody on social media. Anybody and everybody who plays a musical instrument or does something in terms of podcasting. It's actually not my problem if you don't like me, but when you harass me, it says a lot about you and your character, doesn't it? It's still not my responsibility, and you should be thankful I'm not filing a lawsuit against your ass for harassment. When you do it to others who have more, though, don't expect to let that shit slide so easily. I would point you back to the policies of a workplace harassment guideline, which most likely everybody knows, and they know better than to harass people. But then something inside of their delusional mind says, wait a minute, I can do everything. I want everything and anything without receiving karma because I'm just God's gift to this earth with my perfect, rich, beautiful, influential ass. No, 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 you are not, and nobody is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. I don't care how much money you have, I don't care what you look like, what company you work for, what company backs you, who doesn't back you, your friends. Nobody is immune to the trials and tribulations of life. So, for those who understand how karma works and what universal energy is, I really want you to apply some logic towards your actions and your words. If you're bothering people all the time, you might need a shrink. I don't know what else to tell you. Don't expect me to take on your karma. Don't expect me to be the fall guy for your twisted ways. It's actually not my problem, but people seem to love to make their problems our problems. And that's not the way life works, and that's not the way karma works. Like an influencer even said in one of their posts, it's not your fault you're better than them. Well, actually, I don't think I'm better, but they just naturally assume by having money or a support system that they are entitled, and they really aren't. If you are so damn convinced how much better you are than I am, do the work and stop bothering people. Like, just stop. Because if you continue to harass people, especially when they never did anything to you, you're a little bit sick and you might need some help. I'm not a shrink. I can offer you advice, but what would my advice mean to somebody who chooses to express hate? In this case, they're just energy projecting, shifting away blame and shifting away focus from the very fact that they are the ones who have problems. You cannot blame somebody else for doing something similar to you. You cannot blame somebody else for working hard at something, nor can you blame them for possessing a certain talent or skill which you may lack. It doesn't mean you cannot obtain these skills by putting in the work. That's why I tell people to work on a skill every day of your life until you master it. Then whenever you want to become good at something, it's just naturally flowing for you and you don't have to try so hard. I feel like right now for me, I'm just in a competition with one liar or a bunch of liars, because nothing any of those cowards say about me carries any weight, but they would go as far as to make up stories, twist my words around, and lie to other people. The most concerning thing to me is when somebody chooses to take a lie and just roll with it, not really knowing if the story being pitched is entirely accurate, not knowing how much of what was being said about the other person is true. They just decide to form a team with these group of gossipers, like a group of cowardly, cackling hens, and it makes them look stupid. If I'm looking into somebody's life and making decisions that I do not like them based on something they have said or done, I'll just end it there and close out the book, because once I decide, hey, this person's not really for me, I can't relate to them and they have nothing that does me any good. But sometimes Lurch just doesn't know how to leave well enough alone. Shout out to Lurch if he's listening right now. It's not that you have access to my energy, talents, or skills, because I'm still here and I'm still rocking. It's just that you're a little bit confused about the dynamic of hard work pays off. You're a little bit confused about wanting a magical pill or an easy shortcut towards manifesting success. And I'll be that little birdie who chirps back at Lurch for the confusion or lack of understanding about what it actually means to develop skills and talents and to be creative. Chirp, 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 chirp. There you go, Lurch. There's a free therapy lesson for you. And you don't even need to hire a shrink. But my honest advice to anyone out there who does harass people is to hire a shrink, because as long as you're harassing somebody, you may do it to the wrong person one day and they'll file a lawsuit against you. In that case, you better start hiring a lawyer and a legal team, not a shrink. As for me, I'm just not going to bother. I can't get back what was already stolen from me. I can't undo the theft of a criminal who blatantly rips me off. I can stay away and take a learning lesson out of the deal, because who I choose to associate with and who I choose not to associate with says a lot about how my life is going to go. And right now, I'm just perfectly content being by myself. And I stand firm on my decision. No tyrant, nor energy vampire, nor narcissistic abuser will hurt or control me. Hashtag cancel cruelty culture. We are still here rocking, feeling thankful and blessed to have talent and to be able to express our unique gifts to the world, which everybody else is capable of doing, by the way. Make no mistake about it. The question is, are you a lazy loser? Are you a jealous bum? Are you a hateful Henry, a crazy Karen? Or are you a self-generator of success? Are you the type of person to become the biggest clown in the circus? Or are you the type of person to develop and master your own skills? Because some people will come straight out and say, I am absolutely Krusty the Clown. I wear my big red nose every day of my life, and I have green hair. My guy liner never runs, and I'm a total ass clown. Everything I do is goofy. Everything I say is goofy. I am a follower, I am a weirdo, and I am nothing. If you can tell yourself all those things, then you may become your actions and your words. As for me, I refuse to call myself dumb, untalented, or a bum, because those were never my words, and I was never supposed to be any of those things. Those are simply the things clowns and losers wanted for me and tried to project onto me, but it doesn't work. I wasn't able to comply with their wishes. If you're tired of being a goofy ass clown and a circus performer, I want you to make a pledge to me right now. Say, Brain 44, I've been the goofiest, most vile, disgusting animal in the world, and I feel really stupid now for my inappropriate behavior. I take off my big red nose and I'm removing my guy liner. It's time for me to wash off the face paint and just accept it. I was wrong. I am an emotional and jealous, and I feel foolish because I know how wrong I am. Let me prove to you from this point forward that I no longer need to be goofy. I just have a bit of an identity crisis. You know, I was English on Monday, Australian on Tuesday, American on Wednesday, because I can't figure out who I am. And even my voice changes up whenever I talk. But I've come to the conclusion that I have an identity crisis, and I'm taking off my clown nose, the guy liner's coming off, the face paint's coming off, and I'm tired of being Krusty the Clown. You make that pledge to me, and you're good in my book. Have a good one, everybody.